Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Prime 4 podcast. My name is Bryce.
Chris.
And the Wayne Wrongs are gone today. So we got a special one, and this is going to be short. Chris, we're probably not going to talk about everything. So let's just start it off. Chris dropped a huge bomb on me. So what is going on, Chris, with Kanye?
So Kanye, in his infinite wisdom, and his partnership with Elon Musk, it sounds like he decided to put off his presidential run until 2024. He still had a presidential rally where he became emotional, talking on topics like abortion and the fact that Harriet Tubman didn't really free the slaves. She just sent them to work for other white people. And then he released.
I saw that clip.
Yeah, he released a series of tweets kind of aimed at Kim Kardashian, accusing her of cheating with Meek Mills when they were supposed to be meeting up in a undisclosed location to talk about prison reform. He threw shots at Kris Jenner. He's basically wilding out to the point where Dave Chappelle could relate to where he was at in the headspace that he was at. So he decided to drop in on Kanye at the ranch. And, there's a video of them supporting each other and going through this. And I'm like, this is crazy.
So
Absolutely crazy.
He's at his wit's end pretty much.
Well, the thing that they keep reminding us, and it's the Kardashians as well, is the fact that he is bipolar. And, after this blowout, I've definitely seen Kanye post a picture of him and Kris and saying, can we repair, this friendship or this relationship or whatever, and it's like, he's spazzing right now. And I think a lot of this stuff really set in, like to get on the political things, which I knew it inevitably has to be. I think there is some merit in what he is saying, why he was wearing the MAGA hat. I think there's some merit in that. And basically, what he's saying is, if you're telling me I could only vote for one party because of my skin color, that's racist too. If you're telling me just because I don't fit the idea of what you say a black man should fit, that shit is just as racist as him calling me the N-word, and it's just like him trying to get people to think outside the box and say, well, you can vote for anybody you want. You can do anything you like to do because we live in a free country. I don't think, I mean, I have to agree with him in that, and I have to also disagree. If I make my choices lifelong based only on my race, that's how racists win. That's how white supremacy wins, because they're like, he could only do things that we deem necessary for stereotypical black people or black people in general to do. And it's either like you fight that and try to become anti that and end up like Candace Owens, or you just go so far into it and, you just end up in a Kanye space where you really don't know which way is up.
God. It's kind of refreshing to like kind of get down to what's actually going on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it may not even be rollout at this point. Like, he may just be, he's just going through some very personal shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like reading in like TMZ, of course. Like, first off, Kim and Meek Mill, that's like why to begin with?
I mean,
Meek Mill.
You have to look at Kim's past relationships as well. And,
that's true.
The chain of, and the thing that I really didn't think about until I saw a post about it, the chain of African-American males that have had dealings with that family that had mental breakdowns as a result, or seemingly as a result of dealing with that family. You had the Lamar Odom thing where he was supposedly doing crack cocaine, and you have so many people that were connected with that family that were just
Cheating and
it's
yeah.
just in a different headspace, and it's like, I get it. It's hard. It's one of those things that I'm not going to super sympathize with you, because I mean, at the end of the day, we're not in the same lane. But it's like, people start to think that with a certain degree of success, you don't have to deal with real world shit. And that, circles back to the
Yeah.
Will Smith shit. Like, it's kind of disheartening to be able to see, like, yo, they got all of this fucking money, like they shouldn't have problems. And it's like, no, you're still human, you are still going to go through shit, and that shit is terrible, because it's like, you spend all your life as a kid basically wishing to be an adult. You spend all your life as an adult wanting to be wildly successful and rich and this, that, and the third, but you never stop to think you're still going to have to deal with the same or different shit, but still shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had to have known what he was getting into with Kim, like reality TV show, like constant, like they call paparazzi themselves,
Yeah, certainly.
like to get like the constant attention. And like Kanye never seemed like the type to ever want that. Like he wasn't on the show except for, I don't know, probably a couple times he had to be on the show for whatever fucking reason. But like he wasn't even
Contractually.
on their show. And it's like, I mean, it's constant paparazzi, then this Meek Mill crap. And apparently, like according to TMZ, they're saying that witnesses were told that they were never in a one-on-one setting even during this meeting. Like there were other people there. And someone alleged that Kim left the hotel after, like immediately after. I guess it took place in a hotel, which is, I guess, something that happens. Yeah, a restaurant in the Waldorf. So that's rich people shit. I guess you can have meetings in hotels when you're rich, and it's not trashy.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, who knows? I'm sure he has some reason to believe that something actually happened between them. Like he seems like the type of dude who would read her texts, like go through her phone for sure.
Or the fact that, like, I've loosely followed their relationship because it has a close correlation with the music, and it seemed like Kanye West was in a lane that he saw her and he was like, this is the girl that I want. And it was just kind of very shallow. You know what I mean? Like visually, I could imagine myself with her. You know what I mean? And then it's like,
dude, I told you this before, like back in the day, like he just wanted that royalty shit, that Jay-Z Beyonce shit. That's
what's
all
crazy
he wanted.
is like, what's crazy is she wasn't in that lane fully, when they started talking.
In my opinion, still not, but other people don't see it that way. So
no, I'm just saying, like, she wasn't nearly as close as, or even close to the space that she's in now. Not necessarily the Beyonce space, but the space that she's currently in. And with him, I guess it's just one of those things where, you get too Disney with it, and you think, I'm going to rescue the princess and we're just going to spend our time with each other and that's going to be enough. And then you have her doing things for the likes and doing things for the attention and all of these. He used to back it so hard, and now he's coming out in statements saying, my daughter would never pose in Playboy and y'all will never sign her up for that. And it's like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, like it's
maybe
very,
that's conversations they have.
well, not even just that, but it's the fact that, like, Kim did it, and I believe when she was doing that earlier on in their relationship, that's what definitely propelled her forward, because that was a culture within, not even just hip hop, but like that was within our culture to, that's where you got the Insta thoughts, you know what I mean, on Instagram showing they ass, this, that, and the third. This goes for dudes too. Don't think that is gender bias, but you have the Insta thoughts doing their thing. You have Cardi B blowing up. You have Megan Thee Stallion blowing up. You know what I mean? You have so many strippers blowing up and becoming successful that you almost feel like you have to do that to have that edge and that competitive edge. And she rolled the dice and she was right. You know, she has everything that I think she's after at this moment. But I think in retrospect, Kanye's like, damn, you know, I can't fuck with this shit. I mean, you hear it in his music. He was like, on the song 30 Hours, he was talking about, I was cool with the fact that we had an open relationship, but the second that you told me you were with this other dude, I'm driving over there 90 miles an hour like Matt Barnes to come beat his ass. Like you can't have
That's
both.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't have both. And it's just like,
yeah, it's the whole like they want their they want their cake and eat it too or whatever. Like
right.
like I know personally people who do that. It's or who have done something like that. It's like
Yeah.
they have cheated on a significant other, and then like they're like, okay, and then significant other cheats on them, and then just shit hits the fan. Like,
Well,
how did you not see it coming? Like,
well,
it's
and not even
in an
just
open
that,
relationship. Like,
yeah, even if it was an open relationship and you didn't really consider it cheating, I think the people, and I'm not to down talk that because that's outside of my realm of understanding, but the people that are in those open relationships, like you have to be at a different level of consciousness of who you are, and you have to understand when competition stops, because at the end of the day if some dude in this situation decides to come in is like, yeah, I dicked your wife down, what do you say to that? You know what I mean? Like, what do you say to that? And the same thing I imagine the girls feel like, where she's like, man, I put this on your husband, la la la. What do you say to that? There's no comeback to that. And you have to be really secure in who you are to really not get into those situations or be able to handle them if you do.
Yep. I was in a very short open relationship once, and it's for guys, if if you're not rich and attractive or attractive, whatever. If you're me, it's not fair. It's because I'm not going to pull in as much as she can. And it, like eventually, like, oh, it didn't take long. This was like less than a month. I was like, for one, I was told about one, which shouldn't, you never want to hear about it. And then it seemed like I was the side piece.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, oh, you're just using me. And like, I'm like, it was cool for a little bit, but then it was like, nah, it's best for my mental health just to like back out of this.
Right.
And
But okay. So let's take that situation, right? And I mean, of course, we're not going to name the people that were involved because that'd be too crazy. So say you have that relationship, right? And you're willing to do anything in that relationship. Say that, this is one of the girls that when you got in high school, she was in 10th grade and you always were trying to get the shorty. Then you decide, all right, I'm finally going to shoot my shot. And she goes, yeah, but here's a caveat. It's got to be open. And that's the only way that you're going to get with me. And you're like, all right, shit, let's do this, whatever. The worst I can get is I could get, la, la, la.
Exactly.
Then you get caught up,
like, I'm going to hit it once, at least.
Right. And then you get caught up because you're like,
agree to anything because you're just tunnel vision on the puss.
Or just being with that person that just, I mean, I see how people talk about how women are objectified and men are objectified because they become a status symbol. Because if you have the most attractive or the most successful or whatever that attribute is that you see in your significant other, that puts you on a different status. But behind the scenes, you're like, damn, it's an open relationship. So everybody's tagging that shit. And, you add the degree of, your windows being open, so to speak, where everybody's looking in and everything hangs on the balance of your relationship. Like, that's a tough call to make. That's a really tough call to make, to end that relationship, or a tough call to make to just swallow your pride and do that shit or try to swallow your pride and end up going fucking nuts and buying thousands of acres in Wyoming. Like,
Oh God, yeah.
like that's crazy.
And you know she's not living there.
No, not at all.
No, it's pretty much he's probably there, and then she's just like, oh, I gotta work in LA or wherever the fuck they actually live.
Right, like the LA Calabasas area. The thing
What
too
is
is
like she probably said like, you know what, I would like to experience what it's like to live here, like a week, like staying a week there. And
right.
Kanye's like, let me do you one better.
I'm gonna buy the literal farm and then the
Yep.
farm next door. And it's like for him, you know, I could see that area, you know, growing up in various inner city areas is an area of great clarity. I mean, the first time I was out in Minnesota, in northern Minnesota, and I was able to just be outside, breathe, see the stars with little to no light pollution at all. I mean, I think they have a couple 100 acres up there. So I'm just sitting out in the middle of nothingness and everything is still and everything is quiet. And like that just doesn't exist in those inner city spaces that I grow up in. So I could see him getting clarity from staying out there and wanting to build creative centers out there. And I could also see how that looks very cultish and going left, you know, in his position.
Oh,
but
it's definitely cultish, dude. Come on.
Yeah, certainly. But it's just like I could see how it would unravel in a very sane, you know, a very, I can't even say normal. I could see how that could transpire over time. I could logically connect the dots, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, I can't wait to see how this unravels. Like Meek Mill apparently tweeted that it was a lie.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, what else is he gonna do? Is he gonna tweet like he's like, yeah, I did.
Yo, if
plucked
it was
your wife.
Drake,
Oh my god, that would be gold.
Apparently, I'm not sure if this is true or not. This could be cap. But what is Epstein's first name?
Jeffrey.
So Kanye tweeted instead of Jeffrey Epstein, Aubrey Epstein, and put Drake's face up there. And like he was one of the people that he was naming in the tweets, like, you really don't want me to get into it with you. I think he knows about Drake's little excursions with people that are not of age.
Yeah, there was rumors about that. I think like last year or something about Drake like talking to underage actresses and stuff.
Yeah, like Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things.
Yeah, like shit like that. And people are like, oh, he's grooming her. But I mean, we don't really know.
Right.
I guess like right now. But yeah, maybe he's just hinting at that. And it's like, I mean, that would be fascinating to see. I mean, what is Kanye claiming he's hiding a pedophile now? Is that something you should be keeping in your back pocket, or do you think you should just like let it out?
Okay, so this is where it also gets political, right? Let's look at what happened to Epstein, right? And then now his accomplice is being investigated, and apparently the files that name names are going to be unsealed. The judge denied sealing those records. So, I mean, I'm sure, you know, it's easy government wise to erase names and this, that, and a third, but inevitably, just like we saw with Epstein, someone's going to get thrown under the bus. Someone is going to get thrown under the bus so all of these other sick bastards can survive. And I'm just waiting to see who's going to get thrown under the bus. You know, and I think with Kanye, it's like the last time that I think I could only speculate, allegedly, the last time he opened his mouth about Drake, Drake gained a family member through Push putting that shit in a rap, you know? So it's like, what other things does he know, or does Push even know right now about Drake that would just end this man's career, you know? And not only end this man's career, but get him locked up and all of this other shit. Because people get real comfortable around you, and they tend to be in a lane where they're like, oh shit, I don't care what these people are doing, and the people around them are taking notes, you know. And I think Kanye is a note taker, and I think Kanye has built up quite a few notes on Drake over the years.
Maybe, yeah. I think Push would want that though, or would have used it. Like,
There, so what my view on that thing is, there's a certain amount of things that you can say in a diss track that people would actually believe. And I think Push pretty much hit the mountaintop with the whole "you have a illegitimate child." You know, anything after that, I'm thinking people are the masses are just going to intercept that as Push is relentless. Now he's making up shit. You know, he got just enough dirt out on Drake that, you know, people were still believing it. If he actually said names of girls or whatever Drake is into, that he was with, I think people would be like, he's fucking lying. He's already got all he wants. He's lying now, you know?
yeah. Maybe I wanted to go further to see what happens. Honestly, like,
Certainly. I mean, I definitely do too. I would love it.
because if Drake snaps off with a tweet or something and Kanye doesn't do anything, then we know it was a lie.
Uh-huh.
Kanye West apparently wants Jay-Z to be his running mate. Oh my god. It's crazy. I hope this should resolve in a week. I hope. Like,
I don't think so, because the album got pushed back. And I think
his album?
Ye's.
Did it even have a release date?
It was supposed to release this past week. I can't remember what day it was at midnight, but it got pushed back.
I told you. That's why it's like, okay, I'm running for president again.
Yeah.
Now he's not. Now it got pushed back, and now he's got to say, "Oh, I'm running again."
Well, and then he's. I mean, what's coming in 2024? Like, is that when the cult is unveiled? Like, what is coming in 2024? Because I know he's not going to do another president. I mean, I can't say I know, because he has gotten this troll shit down pat so great that he's just a one trick pony right now. People continue to fall for that shit.
Yeah, they do, and it's unfortunate. I guess, I mean, at least we know there's something more to this one, like, than a rollout. Like, shit's actually happening. Maybe that's why he's holding the album back. Like, he's not in the right space to deal with it or something. And
yeah,
I mean, maybe something will come of it. Apparently, he's trying to, like, get a divorce now.
Yeah.
So we'll see. The other big thing, did you hear about Tory Lanez allegedly shot Megan Thee Stallion?
Yes. So
that's wild.
Listen, this guy is 5'2" and 120 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way you can tell me that this guy should not be carrying a firearm at all times.
Apparently, like, they were at a party and he was giving too much attention to Kylie Jenner, or vice versa, or whatever. And apparently, they got in an argument. Megan Thee Stallion started kicking his ass, and he shot her in the leg.
Yeah,
Well, it's all alleged right now, right, because they're
certainly
keeping it under lock and key. But
certainly.
Come on, like,
it doesn't
give us something.
It doesn't seem too far for me to believe what the details that have released about what happened allegedly, and then the fact that one party is silent about this shit and the other party is like, yo, I was the victim in this shit. And all of the information that's come out has negated everything the one party has said about being the victim. And
Right.
that's another tough conversation to have, because
Who is the victim here, pretty much?
right. And then historically speaking, and I'm not trying to be sexist, but historically speaking, you hear about more cases of it going the other way. So it's like, number one, you have to admit that it happened as a man, which whatever you deem as a man, whatever you deem as masculinity is up at stake, so to speak, with that. Then you actually have to deal with the pain of it. And I don't think I don't think he's a very emotional creature. I don't think I'm a very emotional creature on that level where I could just deal with shit that's that heavy. And then to have that shit publicly happen, like that escalates things so much. It's
Right.
crazy.
Like, I mean, he's a bitch. Like,
Yeah, certainly,
for
no doubt.
for shooting her, even if she was kicking his ass. Like, just take your lumps. Like, he shot her, for Christ's sake, allegedly. Like,
People,
I mean, it's
listen,
almost not alleged. Like, he did it. Like,
people have gotten killed in this country for less. For
yeah,
less.
I think he's in custody right now, I'm sure. But
Yeah,
they're like,
I bet.
I'm surprised how they're keeping it under lock and key.
I think most times in those cases, especially high profile cases like that, some sort of gag order is filed and nobody can say anything that's close to it at risk of the case, so to speak, or being held in contempt. But it's also a crazy situation to have the act happen publicly, but
Yeah.
everything else happen privately. Like that is so weird.
Well, he is trying to be the next Chris Brown, so maybe he was just trying to one up
Just
him right out the
just
gate.
bang right away.
Yeah.
Not even a Lambo involved. Not even no cool shit like a Lambo.
Yeah,
Just straight up,
they're probably in a Toyota Camry.
right?
He's
Hop
like,
in the Corolla.
I'm not even gonna beat her up. I'm gonna shoot her. Domestic violence is not great.
Again, no, and it's not funny, even though I laugh.
Yeah.
Also, also, it's a situation that distracts us from what is actually going on. And it's sad to say, I actually enjoy that aspect of it, or the latest news that's come out, with the Kanye, the Tory Lanez, all of that shit. It's a nice little distraction to be like, oh, this shit is some gossip.
Mm-hmm. It's yeah, hip hop was pretty lively this week,
Yeah.
which is nice. We got a lot of video game stuff, but we'll wait till the Wayne Wrongs are here to
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. Xbox did their game showcase where they showed trailers for like their exclusives and stuff, and some
Mm-hmm.
gameplay for some of them. So that's exciting. Um,
Sweet.
I did want to bring up quick before we stop that Christopher Nolan's Tenet was delayed indefinitely. So they're not just pushing it back. They just don't know when it's going to release. And that was the movie that was going to bring back movies pretty much.
Yeah.
And everybody was following Tenet. Like, oh, Tenet, if Tenet releases, we're releasing pretty much. But Tenet pulled out. So all the movies pulled out. So we got Mulan, Avatar, and a Star Wars film that Disney's been working on. Pushed it back 1 year. They said nothing can be set in stone. Dune, Bill and Ted 3, they all pushed back. Like everything's like being unslated now because Tenet pulled out.
Well, and the thing is too, like society wise, I think without all of this corona shit happening,
Yeah.
I think people were kind of shying more to the side of home entertainment because you can stream a lot of stuff and be entertained in your home without the COVID stuff. So I think eventually we were going to have to come to this point on being able to go to movie theaters. But
Yeah.
I think that the coronavirus definitely accelerated that because, I mean, you can see that you have drive up movies and all of that shit, but it's just like, I'd rather be comfortable at home watching something and figuring out how to get those type of budgets to do those great films with those directors and actors that you love on a smaller scale. Streaming platforms only is something that I guess they really were not looking at anytime soon. So, I mean, I, could I have guessed it would happen? Yes. Do I think that it's gonna inevitably roll over to all streaming? Yeah, but I don't think that's gonna happen quick either.
I don't think so either, but apparently Bill and Ted is hitting video on demand services and select theaters.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones that are probably actually open. So that'll be interesting to see how that works, but they can't exactly, like, they could charge $15 for you to see a new movie for streaming, but
Mm-hmm.
like, what if it's a family of four? Like, that's normally $60 a movie theater would be getting.
Right.
But I guess they could cut out the theater as a middleman anyway and make, take like 100% of that cut by just
Yeah.
streaming it. So
I mean, but
we
you have
may
the streaming
see,
services that need to take their cut, and depending on adverts and all of that shit. Because I mean, they legitimately could break it up and throw
yeah.
adverts in there, and there's any number of ways, but
Oh, that would suck.
it would be trash. It would be it would be
I
so
I
trash.
I have no desire to see any movie from home new. Like I love the theater experience. So like James Bond, Dune, Avatar, Star Wars, like that's theater. I'm not paying to see
Well,
that at home.
well, the thing is too, the technology for home theaters has advanced as well. So you have, like, I have a home theater system at home. Is it the best? No. Is it set up by professionals that have the greatest acoustics? No. But it's comfortable, and it's one of those things where I do get the surround sound effect. I do have the subwoofer for the lows, and it feels great to be able to get up and walk to my kitchen and get a snack if I need to, and not pay $1 bajillion for a
Yeah.
popcorn that's stale when you buy it. And I get it. We definitely we grew up a little bit differently on movie release, because my thing was, I watched a lot of VHSs, and I also the movie theaters on the military base were like movies that hit there right before they come out for purchase or whatever, retail stores. So they were just like, you pay $1 and you just pay $1 to sit and goof off in a movie theater for an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then you leave. Snacks are super cheap, this and a third. So I don't really have the connection that most people have with theaters. And I think a lot more people are becoming more like me, where they're just like, fuck it, I'll stay home and do Netflix. I mean, look at how many people are not frequenting before this COVID shit that are choosing to party at home rather than go to bars and shit like that.
Yeah. My setup's trash and my internet's trash, so there's no way I could do it from home anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a sound system or sound bar, subwoofer, none of that. But maybe because like Disney has a service themselves, so they could
Mm-hmm.
take 100% of cost if they sell it from that directly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we could be seeing a point in time where tons of movie theaters will close and probably already have closed,
Mm-hmm.
and we might be seeing a point where movie theaters will be cut out as a middleman, maybe.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's certain
I personally can't imagine it, but it's a possibility. Like like a whole year of no revenue. Like,
yeah.
for a movie theater, they're gonna, like, Hollywood will have to inject. Well, Hollywood's losing out on money too, so they're not even
Right.
gonna be able to, like, keep movie
Produce.
theaters afloat.
Right.
Like, movie theaters, like the big ones, maybe will have their own streaming service, which would be fucking ridiculous. But
Right.
I mean, I can't wait to see what happens, and I hope the outcome is that movie theaters, specifically our movie theaters, last.
Well, and then too,
Are one.
I think certain they really have to change up the game and become more competitive. I mean, they for years they have not had to evolve. Like everybody was uh, complacent with paying X amount for a ticket and then having your guts ripped out by the concession stand and this, that, and a third. But like with films and changing the dynamic, it's like, what if they had events and, started doing more special events? Because I know the theater near us did, Miyazaki for a while, that they'd bring films back.
Oh yeah,
And
Jurassic Park and shit.
yeah, and it's like not necessarily just old movies, maybe a film festival or some shit like that where you can go in and, explore foreign films. But I think they need to change up their sales dynamic. And, it's their marketing is almost antiquated because it hasn't changed in all those years. You get a new movie, you put out a bunch of previews of the movie, and people come and see the movie. You don't really have to really entice it. You just have to shove it down their throats enough where they see 50,000 commercials of a great director doing what great directors do. But yeah, they're going to have to definitely change it up. I mean, our theater did a good job of, less seats, more comfortable theaters, but I think they might actually have to continue to one up it. I mean, on the East Coast, there's this area where it's a movie theater, a cocktail lounge, a bowling alley, and a restaurant. And
That's
it's like
too much.
you go in there. Well, you go in there, and it's like you go to one building for an entire night. You have an entire date night in there filled with activities. Yeah, it might cost you a couple $100 before you leave out the door. But it's like that entices people to come in there. It's like, holy shit, I can do all of these things as an adult and not have to drive place to place. That's fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, but then like it's too much. Like movies like are already trying to be like 3 hours long right now.
Right.
And it's like, especially all the fucking Marvel ones, like every single one. It's like that's already your whole night.
Right.
Like for me, like I live like probably around a half hour from the movie theater. That's like an hour driving there and back. 3 hours for a movie. That's 4 hours.
Right.
I worked 8 hours. Like that's like just my whole day pretty much.
Well, yeah, that. And then you have shows like the Mandalorian, where it's like that could have easily been a movie, but you have the opportunity to piece it out in episodes so you can draw out the story a little bit longer. It gets to be longer than 3 hours long. So that's another thing I'm thinking, are they going to try to format movies that way as well, where it just kind of, all right, we have to be on a streaming platform. Let's get a good deal from Netflix. Let's get a great deal from Hulu, whatever, and then chop up the movie essentially into what can be viewed as episodes and then just release one every week.
That's a smart thing to do, is episodic. Like I think even Netflix will probably get there too, because it just makes people, forces them to subscribe longer if everything's released episodically.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see what the Mandalorian does, because like without Baby Yoda, that show is like Baby Yoda was everything for season 1. Like if they like next season, if they have toddler Yoda, everybody's gonna be like, oh fuck this. Like I'm out. Fuck this show. Like if they age him at all, like just a little toddler Yoda, like, heroically picks up the blaster to shoot something, it's like, nope, we're done.
Pass. Yep.
Yeah, we're done. Hard pass. Baby Yoda or nothing.
Yeah, right.
Do you have anything else you want to bring up? Otherwise, we can end it.
Nope, I am good.
All right. That was our Tabloid podcast, and we will catch you next time.
Late.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the episode. You could catch us currently at the Prime 4 podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Podcast Addict for audio only. If you want to see how fugly we look in real life, you can also catch us on YouTube under the Prime 4 podcast.